You know how some things just stick with you for years? A few years back, I stayed at the Marriott on Seoul Broadway in Portland and found this diary from the last guest. It still gives me the creeps thinking about it. My name is Rowan Whitaker. I went up to Portland for a graphic design conference. It was Wednesday evening when I checked into the hotel. My room was on one of the middle floors with a decent view right across from Director Park. The trees out there looked kind of dark once the sun went down. I was pretty tired from the drive, but I had to get ready for my presentation the next morning. First thing I did was order room service. I got the salmon and a Diet Coke. It came quick and tasted okay. I ate while I set up my laptop on the desk. The room was standard hotel stuff. Clean enough. After I finished eating, I needed to jot down some notes for my slides. I looked in the nightstand drawer for a notepad. That's when I found it. This small leather journal wedged behind the Gideon Bible. It had no name on it. I almost put it back, but I opened it anyway. The handwriting started out all jagged and uneven, like the person was shaking while they wrote. Page after page, it was about their marriage falling apart. They thought their spouse was having an affair. There were details about following them one Tuesday night to a parking lot out in Beaverton. Notes about a phone number that showed up twice in the call log. Even a screenshot of a text message taped right onto one page. The font was specific, like they wanted to remember every little thing. I felt like shit reading someone else's private stuff, but I couldn't stop. It was like watching a car crash. I told myself it was just some person's pain, and it had nothing to do with me. The conference was the next day, and I needed to focus. But every few minutes, I went back to the journal. Around 10 o'clock, I heard a door slam down the hall. Nothing weird about that in a hotel, but it made me jump a little. Then it got quiet again. Too quiet, maybe. I kept reading. The early parts were full of anger and questions. Circular stuff that went on and on. I even looked out the window at the park a couple times. There was a guy walking his dog real slow, but he moved on. The last few pages changed. The handwriting got calm, almost neat and careful, like they had made up their mind about something. It listed a full home address for a couple in the West Slope neighborhood of Beaverton. KL and Aloan Bryce. It had their daily schedule too. What time the lights usually came on in the morning. When one car left the driveway for work. What time the other vehicle showed up later. Times for everything. The very last line said, "I'm not angry anymore." That part is over. That hit different. My hands felt cold holding the book. I sat there for a good 10 minutes staring at it. Part of me wanted to just close it and forget. Maybe it was nothing. Maybe the person was just venting. But the way it was written so cold at the end, it didn't feel like venting. I paced the room a bit. Looked at my slides on the laptop, but I couldn't think about work. The park outside looked even darker now. I picked up the hotel phone at 11:18 p.m. I called Portland PD and told them what I found. The officer on the line sounded serious when I read the Beaverton address straight from the journal. They said they would do a welfare check right away. I hung up and waited. Those 90 minutes felt long. I kept checking the clock. Once I thought I heard footsteps stop right outside my door, but when I looked through the peephole, there was nobody. The call came back after a while. The officers had checked on KL and Aloan Bryce. They were both fine. Unharmed, but they got real scared when the police explained in short terms what was in the journal. The person who wrote it had checked out of this same Marriott room only 11 hours before I checked in. Same bed, same nightstand. I didn't sleep much that night. My presentation the next day went okay, I guess, but my mind was somewhere else. After the conference, I drove home thinking about it the whole way. The journal was turned over to the police. I never heard what happened to the writer. No news stories or anything. To this day, I wonder if they found another way, or if reading that last line saved those people. Hotels always have new guests coming and going. You never really know who was in your room before you. Sometimes I still check behind the Bible when I travel, just in case. And Director Park, I haven't been back to Portland since.